Hi, my name is Ryan Fowler, and welcome to the Offshore Asset Protection and Investing Secrets video series. This is Part B. This is the second half of our discussion about offshore LLCs. We're going to talk about management issues and the best jurisdictions to form your offshore LLC in. A little bit about myself. I'm an asset protection, estate planning, and global investing consultant. I have a nationwide clientele. Their net worth ranges from about $200,000 to over $100 million. And I'm the author of Asset Protection in Financially Unsafe Times. It's co-authored with the late Dr. Arnold Goldstein. It is the best reviewed book of its type on Amazon. It's also a bestseller in its class at Amazon.com. So let's talk about management issues of your offshore LLC. This is an area where offshore trusts are actually a little better, because if an offshore trust is set up correctly, the offshore trustee cannot be replaced by a U.S. judge. However, if all of the owners of an offshore LLC are located in the U.S., then even though charging order protection, which we talked about in our last installment, even though it normally doesn't allow a judge to replace the manager or a creditor to replace the manager of that offshore LLC, it could feasibly or conceivably still happen if you have an offshore manager, because what happens is the owners of an LLC are the ones that appoint the manager, and if they're in the U.S., judge can conceivably order them to replace the manager. Now, if we set up an LLC properly, that is not an issue. Replacement is unlikely because charging order protection normally prohibits that. But how can we make it next to impossible or make it almost inconceivable that a judge could even replace a manager even if he wanted to? Well, the best LLC structure is to have an offshore LLC owned by an offshore trust, or you can do what's called a DEMMLLC. And in a nutshell, we're going to discuss DEMMLLCs in another installment of our video series. But in a nutshell, if we set it up so that a 1% ownership of the LLC is owned by someone that is not in the U.S. judge's jurisdiction, and we structure the LLC so that all owners must vote to replace management, then even if 99% of the owners are in the U.S., they by themselves cannot replace the manager. They need the vote of that 1% guy that is not in the U.S. Judge's jurisdiction, and that way we can get the same type of protection that an offshore trustee has. So where should you form your offshore LLC? Here are four really popular jurisdictions. One's Panama, Isle of Man, Nevis, and Cook Islands. Panama is an okay jurisdiction. The main thing I have against Panama is I don't speak Spanish, and a lot of my clients don't speak Spanish. It's important for your planner to speak Spanish if he forms an LLC in Panama, because number one, their Offshore LLC Act it's in Spanish. And if they can't read the Act, then there may be some idiosyncrasies they're missing out on. Even if it's translated into English, there can still be some things lost in translation. So unless your planner speaks fluent Spanish, Panama is not a good jurisdiction. Although otherwise it's just fine, and it's a good banking jurisdiction in some respects, and it's okay. Isle of Man is off the coast of Great Britain. It is not the best jurisdiction for forming your offshore LLC. They don't have charging order protection, which we talked about in my last video installment. It doesn't have charging protection specifically written into the law. Also, the courts of the Isle of Man have been a little bit too friendly to U.S. courts, actually much too friendly. There's a bankruptcy case where the U.S. bankruptcy trustee went over to the Isle of Man, and the administrator of some assets there for a U.S. person just handed those assets right over, and the courts went along with it. So I'd avoid Isle of Man for that reason. Nevis is actually a good jurisdiction. The Nevis Limited Liability Company Act is patterned after the Delaware LLC Act, so it works very well for U.S. people. However, I like Cook Islands the best, and the reason is the Cook Islands, which is off, Nevis, by the way, is a Caribbean island federation of Nevis and Safe Kitts. The Cook Islands is off the coast of New Zealand. Everyone speaks English in the Cook Islands. They have good infrastructure there, and they revised their LLC Act in 2008 and put some powerful new provisions in there that you can use for asset protection. For example, we were talking about how if you structure your offshore LLC wrong, then a U.S. judge may, in an unlikely but may be able to force you to replace the manager. Well, the Cook Islands LLC law puts some provisions in there that would keep a judge from doing that unless the manager was clearly acting in bad faith or doing something that was not in the best interest of the LLC. So you have the best protection, best infrastructure, and everyone's English speaking in the Cook Islands. Plus, I've had the best service from people working in the Cook Islands. A lot of these tax havens in the Caribbean, they have what we call Pacific Islander work ethic, which means they're kind of slow to respond and they take their times. People in Cook Islands, very professional and respond quickly, at least the people that I work with. So in the next video, we'll talk about offshore entities to either avoid or use with caution. These are some entities that are either obsolete now or they can be used but only in very specific niche situations. So we'll see you in the next video. So if you found this inside information helpful, be sure to get the complimentary ebook version of Asset Protection in Financially Unsafe Times, and also get the free video tip series emailed to your inbox. And also find out for a limited time only how you can have a 20-minute consultation with me so I can answer your questions and discuss solutions for your specific situation. You get all this for free. Just go to www.offshoreassetprotectioninformation.com and sign up. I'll see you there.